Hey, time to debrief. Day 18. Got some cool use of language and some plot points to review. I didn't like that little thing with thinking that Gavin was after Fiona. I mean, it made sense. I understand. And it was about her own sense of worthiness, which Fiona saw immediately. But I just don't like, Fiona is not the kind of friend who would bail on you like that. She, even if she had liked Gavin and Gavin had liked her, she would have been like, "Sorry, I'm friends with Jessica." Yeah, so I'm not happy that she doubted Fiona. That was silly. But again, this was really just to illustrate her own self doubt. Like no one would really like me. That's why that was there. Uh, the math success was great. She gets this great grade. She's celebrating, recruits someone else to Team Rosa, Eric, she's like, I was there. I was wondering how could this strange person in a wheelchair help me, but she knows that if he gives her a chance, she will help him and he'll see her, and that's like part of becoming part of Jessica's mission. It feels like she wants people to see Rosa, and I love that. I'm really happy about that shift in the story. Lots of cool language mixed in here. Um, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Some simile there, but also kind of an idiom that we use. My thoughts grew darker. We use darkness, oh, you're going to a dark place there. We use that very symbolically, metaphorically, a lot of time. Uh, Negative thoughts creeping in and taking root, a little personification, a little kind of figurative language, taking root like pesky weeds in a delicate garden. That's a great simile there. I feel wrecked. That's, I guess, kind of an idiom, wrung out, like you do a towel. I've felt that way. It really describes how you feel sometimes. Whip you into shape. There's no literal whips being used, but that's a common idiom. I think the most important phrase in this entire section was when Jessica says, I'm more than a legless girl." She's trying to remind herself she's more than a legless girl, and this goes back to her self doubt and problems with worthiness. And I think it's really interesting that it's set side by side with her seeing past Rosa's cerebral palsy, seeing past her disability to the person, and yet she's still stuck on what's wrong with her. Isn't that interesting? So she's still struggling to see herself as just a person who happens to have a prosthesis instead of the legless girl. We need to keep an eye on that mental shift that she needs to accomplish. And then that, man, a triumphant ending to our reading on day 18. The fundraiser was a smashing success. Even without the anonymous donor, 15,000 was pretty amazing for a track team. And so they had done great. The donor was adding the 10,000, so they got extra, so they were able to pay for the running leg and contribute some to Jessica's family. That's going to help a lot. And now she's committed to running again. When I read that ending, I could hear the music swelling. I think in terms of 80s movies, the music swelling, and I'm ready for a training montage. If you've never seen the Rocky movies, look into those and maybe ask your folks about it. Because it feels like it's time for the big training montage. Rocky was the underdog who had to, really push himself to get ready for these big fights. And they would have the inspiring music, and he would get out there and push himself to the limit. And I felt that when I was reading about Jessica saying, "I'm going to run again." So that's going to be amazing to watch. We are definitely using the running metaphors. We're turning the corner here, right? And Jessica seems to be picking up some real momentum, personally and in terms of her dealing with that lost leg. So they've got the money. We get to see her, we hope, getting that running leg, learning how to use it. Who knows what's going to happen? I hope you've made some predictions. I hope you've thought about what's the climactic thing going to be. Does it have to do with Vanessa? Does it have to do with Gavin? what's going to happen at the end. I hope you've been thinking about that. It's going to be fun to find out together. I'll see you next time.